Alright, I want to show you what I got here. I've got the new oil seal started on here. This is the oil seal housing. I've got the oil seals on this side, and then on this side I put in a new roller bearing because I broke the last one when I took out the old oil seals. And so what I did is what I started to do, which I got from another YouTuber, took a socket, hammered that in to get the roller bearing in. Got that in fine. It's tough. Now I'm having difficulty seating both the oil seals in there, especially since these are rubber gaskets right there. Well, let me show you what I found. I've got a C-clamp and a vise right here. This pad right here on the vise is a good pad for the oil seals to sit on. It's nice and flat and sturdy, and it just so happens that the screw part is the same diameter as the roller bearing, so actually this would be the best way to press it on. Alright, I had to use two hands to stabilize the oil seal housing so that it wouldn't spin as I cranked on the handle, but it perfectly seated the roller bearing, and now the oil seals are now flush within the housing. Give it one more spin here. I can't, it's tight. And you can see it got that oil seal bearing flush, and the roller bearings flush too. So it seems like it's a really good fit. Okay, so I've got the lower gear unit back together, and I built the temporary boat stand right here off my table saw. And so this is how I got set up, and this is how I worked on it. And I was able to get the lower, everything went back in just the way it came out. Excuse me. So as I took everything apart, come this way, watch your head, watch your head. Come around. I want you to look back here. I ended up finding some rot on the transom. So we've taken out the transom right there. And then I figured, well, since I've got that out, I may as well start replacing all the seats. So I bought a sheet of 3/4 inch marine grade plywood. I've got it primed right now. And then the next step will be to epoxy it. I had a lot of pitting from the old plywood that was in there. It was just regular plywood. It pitted the aluminum heavily. I filled those in with an aluminum brazing kit that I bought online, and then I've done some touch up where I've seen some cracks in the welds. Other than that, I'll epoxy next the transom, and then I'll slide that into place. Okay, so we had a bolt. It was just a Phillips and a bolt head, and we had trouble getting it off because there was so much corrosion right here. And so both of these, this went in like this, and I had to use the Dremel and grind them both bolt heads off. Tried heating it. There was just tons of corrosion. In fact, I don't even have this bolt out yet. It's in there so tight that it broke the tip of the Phillips, and I've broken so many Phillips tips on this boat so far that I need to go to the hardware store and get more. So we're going to take a little pause here, but we're trying to get this seat out so we can put in a new seat. That's kind of where we're at. So yeah, 40. This boat's 40 something years old, 44 years old, 43, and so not using the proper materials when it was built kind of contributed to a lot of corrosion. Or maybe they did use the proper ones, and just over 40 years it's just kind of stuck the way it is. So we'll come back to it. Alright, so we have a new transom board in here. So this started with the lower gear unit being taken apart, and then we kind of morphed into putting in a new transom in. So we bought a sheet of plywood. It's marine grade, 3/4 inch. And then what we did was we epoxied it. So we spray painted it and then epoxied it. And then just to kind of give it this matte, kind of swirly look, once it was epoxied, I knocked it down with 120 grit orbital sandpaper, and it kind of gave it this matte look. And the reason why I did that was, one, it was going to get scratched up when I went to put it in place, and the shininess of the epoxy was just going to get messed up. So to kind of mask any flaws or errors that end up happening back here, knocking it down and giving it this kind of look just seemed to make sense. So we went ahead and did this. We took off the other seats. We'll go over and take a look at this seat right here. This one just got finished up. So this one got spray painted gray. A layer of epoxy went down, knocked that down flat with 120 grit, sprayed it again with spray paint. And then I bought this on Amazon. It's an adhesive measuring tape. Put it on both sides, just something there to be convenient. And then poured the second layer of epoxy on top of that last night. So that's sat. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not perfect. If I was doing a table, I'd do one more layer. I'm not doing a table, so that's gonna be it. Okay, so this is the middle seat. This seat, just like the last one, spray painted it gray, put epoxy down. That time the epoxy dried a little too fast. I wasn't prepared for it. So it took a lot of sanding to get it back down to reasonably flat. Spray painted it again. And then what we're gonna try to do here is we put this trout sticker right in the middle. Because the seat mounts right here. Eventually we're gonna have a cargo door or a storage hatch that's gonna go in here. And we thought it'd be cool just to epoxy this trout in the middle. So we're gonna do that next.